UFC 265, Lewis vs Gane takes place in only a matter of hours, so I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my last minute detailed prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card. I'm not just saying who I think is going to win, I've already done that earlier this week on my full card prediction video. I've already discussed who I believe is going to win these fights. I'm trying to say exactly how the fights are going to go, each and every single round, also trying to call out what finishing move is going to be used, what limb will be used for a KO blow, what round that limb will be used in order to get a KO blow, what submission will be used if there's going to be a submission win, what the scorecards are going to be if it goes to a decision. I'm calling it to a T. I'm putting it all on the line once more, starting with the early prelim opener of Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Jamey Simmons. I'm going to call a decision here, and there's going to be a lot of decisions on this card in my opinion, but there are going to be some amazing finishes, I'm sure. We'll get to those in a second. Johnny Munoz versus Jamey Simmons. I'm going to go with Johnny Munoz Jr. here by decision. I can see Johnny Munoz winning this fight as it goes on. Jamey Simmons is extremely explosive in the first round, so in the first round of this fight, I see Johnny Munoz having a little bit more of a traditional stance compared to Jamey Simmons. I see Jamey Simmons moving around the outside quite a bit, trying to land kicks at range, trying to land big overhands as he rushes in and goes for a big KO win in that first round, and I see Johnny Munoz being able to survive all of those crazy techniques that Jamey Simmons is going to try and throw at him. I think at the end of the first round, Jamey Simmons is going to try and go for a takedown. I don't believe he's going to get the takedown at the end of the first round, but I think he's going to win himself the first round, 10-9 to Jamey Simmons. Then as the rounds go on, all of those wild techniques and all of those attempts for Jamey Simmons to go out there and get a first round KO, which is arguably what he does every single fight really, unless he fights Giga Chikadze, in which case he just stands there until he gets KO'd. Johnny Munoz is going to survive a first round, 10-9 Jamey Simmons in the first. Then in the second and third round, Johnny Munoz is going to start to put the pressure on, pick up the volume, win the second round in a competitive round, but the third round I think is going to be a very clear win for Johnny Munoz. He's going to be walking Jamey Simmons down, and I can see Jamey Simmons gassing as the fight goes on, and Johnny Munoz starting to grind him, taking him down in certain moments towards the end of the second round and halfway through the third round as well, and landing some really good ground and pound shots. I see Johnny Munoz winning this one as the rounds go on, 29-28 unanimous decision. Moving on up the card, Victoria Leonardo versus Melissa Gatto. I'm going to go with Melissa Gatto by first round submission. I think she's going to go out there, trade on the feet a little bit, land some big shots on Victoria Leonardo in that first round, start to get a little bit more confidence, and I think it's also going to start to play on the mind of Victoria Leonardo, the fact that she hasn't really been doing too good on the stand-up department in the first few minutes of this fight, and she also got KO'd in her last one against Menifield. I think it's going to start playing in her head a little bit. She's going to be very hesitant. She doesn't want to get KO'd again. It's happened a couple of times in her career now, and more recently, her last fight, she got TKO'd pretty badly by Menifield. I think that's going to play in her mind. Gatto's going to get the better of the stand-up exchanges. Once she starts to fear the stand-up of Melissa Gatto, I think Melissa Gatto is going to shoot a takedown at the end of the first round and pick herself up an armbar finish from on top, I will say, and get the job done by first round submission over Victoria Leonardo by armbar. I think she's going to get to a mount position, get into a decent position there. Leonardo's going to look for a scramble to end up back on her feet, and I think she's going to give up an arm in the process, and I think Melissa Gatto is going to get the arm and get a finish in the first round by submission. Moving on up the card, Miles Johns versus Anderson Dos Santos. I'm going to go with Miles Johns here by unanimous decision over Anderson Dos Santos. I think he's going to get the job done 30-27 every single round. I think Miles Johns goes out there, beats Anderson Dos Santos to the punches early, which makes Anderson Dos Santos a little bit hesitant. I can see Anderson winging some wild shots and Miles Johns keeping very tucked in and landing some real close range hooks and beating Anderson Dos Santos looping punches with his shots in the close range in the pocket. I think Miles Johns can have a lot of success there. Towards the end of every round, I can see Miles Johns shooting a takedown, maybe putting himself in a guillotine position, but I think he's going to be able to pass those legs, end up inside control, and be able to close out the rest of every single round by being on top and landing a couple of ground and pound shots. It's not going to be an amazing performance by Miles Johns, in my opinion, but it'll be a clear-cut win, 30-27. Miles Johns takes down Anderson Santos after some competitive rounds on the feet. I think Johns gets a takedown at the end of the rounds and lands a couple of shots to secure himself the win, 30-27 Miles Johns. Moving on up the card, Manel Kape versus Osbourne. I'll say Manel Kape TKO. I believe I said decision in the prediction video that I was making, but I think I'm going to change to a TKO because Osbourne is so explosive early. I think he's going to go out there, throw some wild techniques on Manel Kape, maybe jump up in the air and try and land like a raining down hammer fist Kevin Holland style against Osbourne. I mean, against Manel Kape, Osbourne's going to be throwing some wild techniques. I can see him shooting for a big takedown, using a big slam on Manel Kape, trying to take the back, but going for it a little bit too early or something, and then falling off the top, and Manel Kape works his way back up to his feet. I think Osbourne will try so hard for a finish in that first round and try so hard to do something spectacular. In the second round, it's going to get a little bit dodgy for him. Manel Kape's going to start landing a couple of good shots, couple of good knees to the body, maybe against a cage, that are going to start to slow Osbourne down. Then I see Manel Kape going out there in the third, landing some good knees to the body, landing some good knees to the head, landing some good combinations on the feet as well, eventually finishing Osbourne, I'll say by combination punches against the cage after Osbourne's hurt to the body. I think that's how it goes down. Manel Kape gets the finish. TKO in the third round for Manel Kape. Moving on to the prelims. Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Jessica. I think Karolina Kowalkiewicz is going to win this one by unanimous decision. 30-27. I think she just barely outlands Jessica Penne for all 3 rounds. I think the scorecards are going to look 30-27, and I think the stats are going to look something like 20 strikes to Karolina Kowalkiewicz compared to 16 of Jessica Penne, 18 to Kowalkiewicz compared to like 17 of Jessica Penne, and then 21 to Kowalkiewicz in the third round compared to like 16 of Penne again. I see Kowalkiewicz getting this one done. Moving the fuck on, because no one gives a fuck. Alonzo Menifield versus Ed Herman. I'm going to say Alonzo Menifield first round TKO. I think Ed Herman, been around for a long time, got a decent chin. I can just see him going out there, looking to close the distance, trying to work Alonzo Menifield against the clinch, against the cage, trying to push Alonzo Menifield there, work some takedowns, make Alonzo Menifield defend some takedowns, as did Devin Clark. I can see Ed Herman trying to just scurry in the way and trying to just forcefully push Alonzo Menifield back, but I think by doing that, he's going to leave himself open to some counter hooks, and I can see Alonzo Menifield getting a counter hook KO win as Ed Herman rushes in and getting himself a first round TKO, follows up with some ground and pound shots. Ed Herman might be grabbing onto a single leg while Alonzo Menifield just sort of punches the back of his head, and Ed Herman's going to be looking to try and get up on that single leg, but he's not going to be defending himself correctly. I see an Alonzo Menifield TKO on a rocked Ed Herman who's desperately clinging to a single leg and not defending himself correctly. Alonzo Menifield first round TKO. Moving on up the card, Vince Morales versus Drako Rodriguez. I'm going to go with Vince Morales here over Drako Rodriguez. I think Drako Rodriguez is going to win the first round, look really technical, land some good shots on Vince Morales, start to look like the better fighter out there. As the rounds go on, Vince Morales' scrappy style is going to come into play. I think he lands some good body shots, lands some good combinations, eventually getting the better of Drako Rodriguez in the second round, works in some takedowns as well towards the end of the second. Rodriguez is going to work his way back up, but just by mixing in that takedown for Morales, it's going to give him the perceivable win of the round in round 2 to the judges. Drako Rodriguez is going to be more worried about the takedowns. Round 3 comes around. I think Drako Rodriguez is going to look to get the takedown back and go for a takedown early. I think he's going to fail it and take some shots, and I think Vince Morales might end up on top in a scramble and win the third round on top in half guard, landing good total strikes. Vince Morales gets this one done as the fight goes on, 29-28 unanimous decision. I'll go one further and say 29-27. I see a 10-8 round in round 3 for Vince Morales. I think Drako Rodriguez is going to completely slow down, and Vince Morales gets the job done. Moving on up the card, Bobby Green versus Rafael Fiziev. I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev here. By decision. I don't think he gets a TKO over Bobby Green. I think that's very wishful thinking. It's very, very hard to finish Bobby Green. I think Dustin Poirier is like one of the only people to officially do it. Bobby Green's dangerous to finish. I mean, recently anyway, and especially by TKO. Maybe someone submitted Bobby Green before that I'm not quite remembering, but Bobby Green is ridiculously hard to KO. I don't see Fiziev getting a KO here. What I can see happening is Fiziev just chewing Bobby Green up to the body and the legs in the first 2 rounds of this fight, and Bobby Green mounting a little bit of a late comeback that's going to be a little bit too late, and I think Fiziev's going to win this one with the first 2 rounds in the bank. Maybe the third round's even competitive, but I think that Rafael Fiziev is going to slow down in that third round. Bobby Green will get the better of him in the third, land some good shots, acts like he's won the fight at the end, and then complain about a robbery afterwards. Listen, I know Bobby Green's been robbed in nearly every single loss in his career other than the Poirier one recently. However, Fiziev's too good in those first 2 rounds. I think the body kick for Fiziev is going to be there all day long. The leg kicks of Fiziev are going to be there as well. I can see him chewing up the inside leg of Bobby Green, blasting a switch kick to the body as well, blasting normal leg kicks to the outside, blasting normal body kicks to the body as well off the rear leg. I just see Rafael Fiziev chewing up the body of Green, making Green's arms come a little bit lower down, lowering that guard, and then landing some shots to the head as well. And Bobby Green's just not really going to know how to engage, and I think Fiziev's going to be too fast, too powerful. Green's going to be gun shy in the first 2 rounds, getting beaten up, getting hurt to the body. 3rd round comes around, Green starts to make a little bit of a comeback with maybe 3 minutes left. Not long enough, Rafael Fiziev gets it done. Moving on up the card, Song Yadong versus Kenney. I'm going to go with Kenney here by decision. Last 2 rounds. I think in the first round, Kenney's going to land more shots than Song Yadong. I think it's going to be an entirely stand-up fight in the first round. Kenney's going to go out there, land 27, 28 significant strikes to Song Yadong's 25. But Song Yadong's going to have a moment maybe where he rocks Kenney or lands a couple of big shots in a row at the end of the first round. And I think that's going to give him the round based on damage and based on landing the bigger shots. Second round comes around. Those bigger shots start to lose a little bit of their sting. Kenney starts to get a little bit better as the rounds go on. First 2 minutes of the round stays very competitive. Last 3 minutes of the round, I think we're going to see Kenney go out there, land some good combinations, start blasting some of those body kicks, and maybe even get a takedown at the end of round 2. Kenney's going to clearly win the second round, but it's going to be competitive. Round 3 comes around. Kenney starts putting the pressure on. Song Yadong goes for one last hurrah in like 2 different bursts in the 3rd round. I think in the first minute of the 3rd, he's going to go all out, look for a finish, get beaten up for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Then around the last minute of the 3rd round, he's going to go for one big push, around 30 seconds of big shots landing on Kenney, but Kenney's going to turn it around, get a takedown, land some shots on top, maybe look for a guillotine after Song Yadong tries to get back up on a double leg or a single leg. Kenney gets the job done, 29-28, unanimous decision based on the last 2 rounds. Moving on up the card, Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill. I'm going to go with Tecia Torres here. And I'm going to pick her to win by decision 30-27. I think she goes out there, is too fast for Angela Hill, is too awkward to fight, and I can see a lot of Angela Hill maybe slipping or missing jabs against Tecia Torres, and Torres just landing combination punches on Angela Hill. And I don't think Angela Hill's going to be fast enough or capable enough to sort of stop Tecia Torres just being a tiny tornado and landing non-stop volume shots on Angela Hill. Angela Hill will have some success, maybe a couple of moments where she lands a big shot, maybe she gets a takedown, but Torres is going to work way back up to her feet. I can see Torres getting some takedowns mixed in on this fight, but I don't think she's going to dominate with those takedowns in any way. I think she's just going to get them for point scoring, and I think she just outlands Angela Hill every single round to a 30-27 unanimous decision win. Moving on up the card, Michael Chiesa versus Vicente Luque. I'm going to go with Vicente Luque here by KO win. I can see a TKO win here for Vicente Luque. A lot of people are calling a Darce choke for Vicente Luque if they think he's going to win, which is plausible. I just don't see Michael Chiesa tap into a Darce choke against Vicente Luque. Luque's gone for Darce chokes before. Sometimes they don't work. We saw that against Brian Barberena. He ended up on bottom at the end of the first round because he jumped to a Darce choke a little bit too soon. I think we saw him try and go for one in the rematch against Nico Price, but it didn't really work there. I don't see him getting a Darce choke on Chiesa. Maybe he rocks him before, and that could be a thing. I think Luque's going to go out there and get a first minute KO against Michael Chiesa. 1 minute, Chiesa's done. I think Luque's going to go out there, land a couple of good jabs, land a couple of strong calf kicks on Michael Chiesa. Chiesa's going to stumble, get back to his feet, try and pressure forward with some jabs against Luque, get tagged with another big shot, try and pressure forwards again. Luque's going to take the center of the cage. I think Chiesa around the 30-second mark is going to get Luque against the cage. Luque's going to get an underhook, use good head positioning, turn Chiesa around and break from the clinch, landing maybe a counter on the break and a good knee to the body or something like that. Chiesa's going to start wading forward again, looking to try and close the distance, and I think this time when he does it, Luque lands a stiff jab, pulls back after Chiesa throws a terrible shot back to try and get some respect, and I can see Luque landing a left hook counter behind the ear of Chiesa as he dips to sort of go for a clinch against Luque, and I think Luque's going to get Chiesa behind the ear with a check left hook. Chiesa goes down, grabs onto a single leg, gets pounded out on the ground, rolls over, starts fighting an imaginary man and maybe clinging onto the referee, and Luque gets it done by first round TKO in the first minute of the fight. Moving on up the card, Jose Aldo versus Pedro Munhoz. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo here. I think Munhoz is going to do good. I think Munoz is going to do really good in the third round of this fight. I can see Munoz winning the third round of this fight. I don't think it's going to be a 10-8 though. I think Aldo is good enough to go out there, win the first 2 rounds on a technical striking battle, but then go one further than that and start to maybe negate the pressure of Pedro Munoz, start landing some good body shots, start landing some good hooks. I think Aldo's going to get this one done with body shots. I think that's going to be the main thing that's going to do the damage here. Pedro Munoz going to be coming in, looking to go forward, looking to pressure Aldo. Aldo's going to be stinging him to the body, landing good shots to the head as well, and it's going to start to make Pedro Munoz regret wading forwards, because if you want to take good body shots, you have to be setting your stance, you have to sort of take them well, prepare yourself for them, brace for them. I think Munoz moving forward while taking those body shots is not going to do good for him. I can see Munoz getting hurt to the body a couple of times in the first 2 rounds. Aldo wins those rounds. Munoz comes back in the third, has a real good round for himself, but it won't be considered a 10-8 round. 29-28 Jose Aldo decision. Moving on to the main event, Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane. I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane here. By TKO in the third round. I think Derrick Lewis is going to go out there, try and get things done straight away against Ciryl Gane, maybe go for a couple of sweeps and takedowns as well on Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's going to defend them, stick at range, front kick to the body, jab to the face, front teep to the body, jab to the face, oblique kick to Derrick Lewis's leg kick from the outside, jab to the face, second round, Ciryl Gane, jab to the face, teep to the body, jab to the face, jab to the base, teep to the body, jab to the body, knee to the body, outside leg kick, Derrick Lewis wings back, misses a couple of shots, or Gane takes them but rolls with them well. Third round comes around, jab to the face from Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane lands another jab to the face, another teep to the body, another front kick to the body, then lands a brutal front kick to the body that has some snap on it. Derrick Lewis hunches over, grabs his stomach against the cage, starts looking up like he's going to load up for another shot, but this time Ciryl Gane goes out there, clashes with Derrick Lewis, lands a good knee on the engage, maybe goes for a flying knee that gets smothered a little bit, but Derrick Lewis is still going to be hurt to the body, in which case I think Ciryl Gane's going to adjust himself in the clinch, get a tie clinch on Derrick Lewis, and start blasting knees to the body. Derrick Lewis starts bringing his hands down to cover his body in the clinch because he can't get out of it. Ciryl Gane's going to start blasting knees to the face, and Derrick Lewis is going to go down and just flop to the canvas and get finished by TKO to Ciryl Gane in the third round. That's how I see the fight going. Ciryl Gane goes out there, pressures Lewis, lands good shots, hurts him to the body with a front kick in the third round, goes to the clinch, smothers him a little bit, re-engages himself, reasserts himself in the clinch, and blasts knees to the face and body for a TKO win for Ciryl Gane. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Those are my last minute predictions. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.